Hello, good day everyone. This is your teacher friend Liz, and today I'll be sharing a helpful tip for you because I do believe that sharing even just one useful information to others, it can change lives. Today we will talk about how to create a valid test instruments and how to create um, table of specifications wherein teachers are expected to do upon creating their test papers. So let's talk about what is this table of specifications or TOS and where it was based from and how to create a valid one. So basically this was one of the challenge that a new teacher is currently facing that me myself faced back then. I have been thinking to create a simpler tutorial about this, but I got so busy and I had my exam yesterday. So let's talk about what this TOS all about. So there is what we call in every test papers that we create, we are tasked to create or draft a table for table of specs, which is or TOS, which is a two-way chart that relates the learning outcomes to the course content. And why do teachers need to create this one? It enables the teacher to prepare a test containing a representative sample of student knowledge in each of the areas tested. So later on, you will know what are those areas and how to identify the test items from your test papers and how to identify which is which. Alright, when we say table of specification, it can be used to help teachers frame the decision making process of test construction and improve the validity of a teacher's evaluation based on the test constructed for classroom use. It is based on Bloom's taxonomy. So bakit pa tinawag itong Bloom's taxonomy? Bloom's taxonomy was named after its proponent, American psychologist Benjamin Bloom. So this levels or this Bloom's taxonomy table was initially created by him in the year 1956, but it was later on revised by some educators back then. And the latest revision that, correct me if I'm wrong, that was done in the year 2001. Alright, so basically, Bloom's taxonomy attempts to classify learning stages from remembering facts to creating new ideas based on the acquired knowledge. The idea there is that learning is a consecutive process. So, before applying a concept in real life, you must understand it. Before you understand a concept, you must also remember the key facts related to it. So in the original Bloom's taxonomy created by Benjamin Bloom, it has 6 categories or 6 levels. And before, we divided that from easy, average to difficult. So since there are 6 of them, 2 in every category, we just removed that later on the latest revision. So these are remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. In the latest revision, creating and evaluating has been revised or swapped, and creating was changed into synthesizing, and even the verb was even renamed. Alright, kapag sinabing these levels were arranged in a hierarchical order. So, pag sinabi mong hierarchical order, what does it mean? What comes to mind? It means that these 6 levels of the taxonomy are arranged in a very specific order. Meron siyang naaayon na pagkakasunod-sunod, with each level building on the skills and knowledge developed at the previous level. So, hindi siya pwede magkabaliktad. Maliban na lang sa pag-revise nila. For example, in order to be able to understand a concept in level 2, a student must first be able to remember the basic facts about the concept level or the concept in level 1. Similarly, in order to evaluate the quality of an argument in level 5, a student must first be able to analyze the components of the argument in level 4. Do you get what I mean? The hierarchical nature of Bloom's taxonomy means that each level provides a foundation for the development of skills and knowledge before moving to the next level. So it also suggests that the higher levels of thinking require more complex cognitive processes and deeper levels of understanding compare to the lower levels. So, himay-himayin natin. Let's start from the very first one. Remembering. Kapag sinabi mong remembering, let's first give you the simpler definition of these levels in remembering. It's very self-explanatory. Kapag sinabi mong remembering, these levels only involves recalling information from memory, just like you are doing in coding, such as facts, dates, and vocabulary for those people are performing coding. So basically, we are just saying na, literally, we are just saying remembering, like this particular test item or the test items from your test paper that falls into this category or into this level that we code as remembering are only asking the students to recall some informations from a memory, recall some facts, whether it's a name of a movie, the name of a hero, the name of a specific event, occasion, a specific name of place. So you are expecting a specific answer from that particular question. So it's like simply saying identifying key terms from the context. So there is a very specific answer. Meron kang isa lamang sagot. Maring dalawa, but there is a specific answer. From the word itself, remembering, you only need them to recall some facts, like reciting a definition. That's also remembering. Line from the poem or movies, formulas or fact from a memory, recognizing familiar faces or objects, recalling specific events or details from a story or movie, or completing a multiple choice or matching test based on factual information. In short, it only involves the ability to retrieve information from a memory, and that is the only crucial prerequisite under this level of remembering. So it's not necessarily that the students understand that concept or its meaning or its significance. So alam niyo na yon. So kapag sinabing remembering, only those questions that has a specific answers that they don't need to do some complex analysis, and they can get it right away. That's why it falls in the category of easy. Another one is understanding. These levels involves comprehending the meaning of information, such as explaining concepts and interpreting the data. So in the first level, which is remembering or which was remembering, as I already mentioned it, you are not asking the student to explain, right? There's no complex process or no complex cognitive processes that they need to undergo. Kailangan na nilang alalahanin kung ano yung tinatanong mo, specifically from that test question or that test item. Whereas in the level 2 or in understanding, you want them to comprehend the meaning of information, explain the concepts, and learn how to interpret the data. So I applied this one in my very own test paper. So kapag sinabi mong understanding, you only want them to interpret the meaning. Includes being able to explain concepts, ideas, or relationships between different pieces of information. Examples of activities requires them to understand or applies or has an application of understanding is summarizing a text in your own words. That's remembering. That's understanding, sorry. Explain the steps in a process or procedure. That is also understanding. Paraphrasing a complex idea or agreement. That is also understanding. Interpreting a graph, chart, or other visual representation of data. That is also understanding. Describing the cause and effect, relationships between events. That is also understanding. Identifying patterns or themes in a set of data or information. That is also understanding. Overall, understanding is a critical skill that enables the learners to make sense of new information and integrate it with their existing knowledge. Ano naman yung pangatlo? Pangatlo, or the third one is applying. So kapag sinabing applying, this level involves using information in a new context or situation, such as solving problems or using skills to complete tasks. So this one, amat-amat siya na angin komplikado. So when we say applying from the word apply itself, that test questions or that particular activity that you're asking them to perform or do or answer requires an application of knowledge. Example, or applying requires to the application of practical knowledge or knowledge to a practical situation. For example, involves decision making, such as a question: how do you apply strategic analysis and intuitive thinking when it comes to decision making? That's one. This would require you to think critically about the options presented, if there were, like the true multiple choice item from A to D, and use your knowledge and understanding of these concepts to determine the best course of action. Like in my test paper, I'll be flashing it on the board or in the slide. In the questions number 31, what is the latest unemployment rate in the Philippines as of January 2023? So there is a basic fact based from the year uh, the book or the reference was published. But since I was asking in that test item number 31, I was asking the unemployment rate as of the current month this year, January 2023. So they will need to browse to the web and search for the latest information from the legit sources. So that's one way of asking the students to apply their previous knowledge. The fourth level is analyzing. Analyzing this level involves breaking down information into parts and examining relationships among them, such as comparing and contrasting, so common in English, or identifying cause and effect. That's also analyzing. It means that you need to break down complex concepts or ideas into simpler parts. This can involve identifying patterns, categorizing information, comparing, contrasting different elements, identifying cause and effect relationship. Examples of which are tasks that involve analyzing might include interpreting data as well, identifying themes in a piece of literature, or evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of an argument. Example, I will just use my own test paper. In the test item number 30, it asks which of the following reasons migration from one country to another is considered the most important in today's world? So why did I mention that this belongs to analyzing? To answer this question, one must require to first gather information about the current migration trends and news, and then use this information to identify the most common reasons for migration in today's world. So this requires both analyzing and synthesizing information from multiple sources and draws conclusion based on that information. So next, let's proceed to the fifth one. The fifth level is evaluating. This level involves making judgments about the quality or value of information, such as assessing the strength and weaknesses of arguments or evaluating sources of information. So, kapag sinabi mong evaluating, it involves higher decisions or making judgment about the value or quality of something based on a set of criteria. For example, in the same test papers I created, in the test item number 28, which states that which of the following is an example of globalization in action. So I laid out, since it's a multiple choice item, so we have four scenarios that I'm asking the student to choose from. Choose the best answer. In number 32 questions, module 3, it talks about globalization. Which of the following will not contribute to hourly wages being lowered in Philippines than in the United States? That category, or that falls under the category of evaluation in Bloom's taxonomy, as the individual is required to make a judgment based on their understanding and analysis of the information being presented. Are you following? And the last stage is creating. This has been revised into synthesizing. I will explain later the difference between creating and synthesizing, although it sounds similar, but they are different. Alright, let's define first the higher level of, or the sixth level of Bloom's taxonomy, which is creating. This level involves knowledge, or using knowledge and skills to generate new ideas, products, or solutions, such as designing a new invention or writing an original story. So what does it tell us? You are, in that particular question, you are asking the students to not just only to understand the question, not just only to what we called apply their knowledge that they have learned, but also to design, assemble, construct, conjecture, develop, formulate new ideas, or even investigate. So they will be creating a new concept, new information, designing a solution under creating. So now it has been changed to synthesizing, and even the word has been changed into synthesis. Pero ano ba ang kinaibahan nito? Bakit ginawa na lang itong synthesis? It has been revised by educators from Vanderbilt University. I'm checking it online. That was revised in the year 2001. So nawala na yung creating, pinalitan ng understanding. I mean, synthesizing. Well, may sound the same, but they are actually different. So, ano ang kinaibahan ng synthesizing or synthesis from creating? Well, they may sound similar or related, but not exactly the same. Creating is the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy. It involves using knowledge and skills to generate new ideas, products, or solutions. Or also involves the ability to combine existing knowledge and skills in novel and in a very innovative way. Synthesizing, on the other hand, is a sub-skill of creating. It involves the ability to combine all those information and ideas from multiple sources to form a new and cohesive whole. So synthesizing requires the ability to analyze, compare, and contrast information and ideas, as well as the ability to identify patterns. That's all for the table of specifications. Again, we have 6 levels based on Bloom's taxonomy that was created by Benjamin Bloom in the year 1956 and was later on revised by educators in the year 2001. So we have remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Now it has been revised into remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating. Again, as I mentioned earlier, while creating and synthesizing are actually related, but they are different in meaning. But that is the higher level of higher level when it comes to Bloom's taxonomy. So basically, this table of specification, which was based on Bloom's taxonomy or created by Benjamin Bloom, the first proponent of Bloom's taxonomy or the original proponent. This Bloom's taxonomy or table of specification helps teachers to ensure that their test instruments measures all of the knowledge from the 6 categories or 6 levels, or from cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain. Or in the previous revision, we called remembering and understanding under the easy level, while analyzing and applying under average, and evaluating and synthesizing and difficult. But we remove those barriers and we just label them as is. So this taxonomy provides a useful framework for educators to design and assess learning objectives and activities, and it helps them ensure that the students are developing a wide range of cognitive, skills and abilities. And I hope that you have learned something new from me, and I hope you find this video helpful. If it does, please do like and share with others. My name is Liz, and I wish you a great day. See you around.